When I first got my jumper, I had all the controls set for 100%, which was just fine, and I didn't need any switches. So here's an example of the aileron set at 100% on the jumper. And then gradually I realised I want to tone things down a bit, particularly for video. So I started off with rudder, and I set 3 switches: the A switch at the top position to 50%, in the middle position to 75%, and if it's all the way down it's 100%, as if I didn't have a switch at all. And for quite some time that was fine. And I was gradually reading and looking at other videos where people were using something called Expo, and I suddenly realised that the point of Expo is that it slows things down in the middle position of the switch and gives you more control. So I've replaced my complex 3 positions using the same switches with Expo, where I start with a gentle curve, 50%, 75% on the middle switch again, and 100% getting back up to the top switch. And so far I've done a flight with my Bug 6, and I've been very happy with it, how it turns out, as you've probably just seen. So now I'll go into a little bit more detail, although I won't get into the full details. I'll just refer to videos which are pretty good at setting up. With all the stuff on the jumper, the best way is to just see as many YouTube videos as you can and find someone who's explaining it in a way that makes sense to you, because we're all different. Okay, this is just a quick look at how I've got my rates and Expo set on the Bug 6. Press enter, and we're looking at okay, we've got them loaded. So we'll get out of there, we'll go to the mixer. So this Bug 6 is loaded, and here are the mixer settings. So what I'm looking at is aileron, and what we can see here is that there's the high rate, and I've got Expo 35 on it. And as we step down through that, watch the curve on the right, it'll change. So that's 100%. At this point it's flicked to 50%, which I've got on switch A0. And switch A0 is this one here, it's the extreme right one at the top on the jumper. So I've got that set to a 50% rate, and you can see the curve flattens out a lot, and it's still got Expo on it. That's not so noticeable at 50%. The next one I've got set to, coming down, it's set to 75%, which is switch A1, which is the same switch here but set to the middle position. So going down there, that's where we get to the 75%. And the way it works is confusing at first. By default, the one that's left over, which is the switch in the down position, is 100%. So that's just a quick introduction to rates and Expo, and I give reference to a very good video from Andrew Newton that tells you how to go about setting this up, because I won't get into that here. So exit that out, and I've done the same thing on the elevator. Left the throttle is simple, and also on the rudder, and they're all on the same switch. They're all on switch A, the extreme right here, and they're all set up the same way. So just by flicking that switch to the top, I've got the mildest possible setting for your elevator and aileron, which is ideal for aerial photography, as I hope I demonstrate with the next flight of the Bug 6. So that's it. So escaping out of there. Okay. It's easier to explain what's happening with the settings for the Bug 6 looking at the actual file, I think, than talking about it, hopefully looking at both. So basically I'm going to go to channel 1, which is the aileron, and destination is channel 1, and I've got Expo DR as the type, curve type Expo, and I've set it to 35. The setting sharpen the mixer, as you've seen with the other video. So switch A0, which is the one on the right, extreme right, flicked up to the top on the jumper. So switch 0, I'll scale it down to 50%. And then we look at channel, again switch A1, which is the mid position of the extreme right hand switch. I've got that set to 75%, and that by default means that when the switch is all the way down it's 100%. So the way you see it on the actual file versus what you see on the screen of your jumper, between the two you can work out what you've done. So this is just a quick intro. As I say, I've got links to a couple of places where I learned how to do this, but this just gives you an idea of how it was set up and what the results were.